The Clan had a mess of a season last year. With a mid-season coaching change, and Dixon and Stevenson having to step up to take over coaching duties, whilst also playing, it was a very challenging year in Glasgow. This year they bring in another new coach, in Jason Morgan. But with a change in ownership, they will be looking for a stable year, and to begin building a core, and a culture, for years to come. I actually don't think the end result matters too much this season. I think the most important thing, is to find some stability, and consistency, and produce an entertaining product. Last season, they finished 8th, but Fife were knocking on the door all the way, only 1 point behind them. Before we take a look ahead at the upcoming season, let's take a look at a few notable losses. Firstly, they lose Steve Dixon. He didn't have a great year last season, but he was so stretched with coaching duties as well, I don't think it was his fault. But also with his age, I think it was time to move on. Steve MC Parland came in last year, and was decent for them, putting up 52 points, in 62 games. But he was sold, as this game-breaking centerman, who was going to drive the top line. But he ended up playing on the wing mostly, and they would have hoped for a point per game season from him. I don't think he was bad by any means, but he didn't impact the game as much as some would have hoped. They lose a collection of forwards, in John Dunbar, Gabriel Chabot, and Nolan Laporte. But I don't think they were irreplaceable. Dunbar dropping to the minors was a shock. And Laporte suffered with injury troubles last year. On the blue line, Mitch Jones moves on. He had an unreal first year. One of the best defensemen in the league, with some amazing offensive production. But last season, at times looked a bit lost. He was one of the guys that didn't succeed through the chaos of last year, and has looked for greener pastures. Kevin Massey also moves on. I am surprised they didn't try to keep him around. I thought he was pretty good for them. He added some size, and was probably one of the better blue liners for them. Overall, I don't think they lost many key pieces. For a team that struggled so badly last year, I think as long as they kept Hayden, which they did, everyone else was expendable. Now let's look at this year's roster. Coach Morgan comes in as the new head coach. I think that's a good move. I like what he has done in his career, but only time will tell. To see my full breakdown of that move, watch my video on it. The link is in the description. In goal, they have a nice 1A, 1B situation. I think Antti Karjalainen comes in as the starter, but with a solid 1B option of Jake Keeley. Evan Simpson continues his development as a number 3 option. Jake Bolton makes his return to Glasgow, likely as that number 1 offensive option. And I have him paired with right shot Nate Callan. On the second pair I have Bryce Reddick, making his elite league return. And I have Zach Vinnell rounding out that top 4. Cody Saul returns to manager the blue line, with rookie Reese Kelly completing the defensive core. On the forward group, I have Charlie Combs, and Philippe Sanchez, reuniting on the wing. With experienced centerman, Mike Pellick, as their number 1 option. On the second line, I have Gary Hayden on left wing. Of course he can also play center, so he can move to the middle to spread some scoring throughout the lineup. On second line center, I have Luke Combs, with Daniel Craighead completing the top 6. On the third line, Jordan County returns to the Purple Army. And down the middle I have power forward, Ryan Harrison. Completing this crash and bang third line, I have Dyson Stevenson. The fourth line is a mix of Brits, with Jordan Buesa, Robert Lahovich, and Alex Forbes. That is how I see the lineup as it stands. Of course, Hayden could move to the middle and perhaps Lahovich moves to wing, to create scoring through the lineup. Center depth of Pellick, Hayden, Lynch, and Harrison is pretty solid. But for now, this is how I have it. So let's take a look at the roster in depth. Antti Karjalainen comes in as likely the number 1 guy. They get him at a really good age at 27, that's around a goalie's prime. He is on the bigger side, standing at 6'2", and 198 pounds. He has performed really well in the Mestis League, which is the minor league in Finland. In 43 games, he posted a 92.6 save percentage. And in the Alps Hockey League, last season, in 32 games, he had an unreal 94.6 save percentage, and a 1.45 goals against average. He has bounced around a fair bit, but all indications suggest he should come in and be great for them as the starter. Jake Keeley comes in as the backup. Again, a guy on the bigger side, standing at 6'2" and weighing 201 pounds. A product of the North American system, he has had a rough couple seasons, bouncing between the East Coast League and getting American Hockey League call-ups. He hasn't found much success these last 2 years, but showed good promise in juniors. At 26 years old, he will be looking to have a breakout year with the Clan. Let's talk about the defensive core. Jake Bolton returns, this time as likely the #1 powerplay blue liner. Last season he played 8 games for the Clan, as temporary injury cover, and it was enough to impress the Clan, to secure his return to the blue line. In his elite league career so far, he has played 74 games, and put up an impressive 17 goals, and 23 assists, for 40 points. He thrives on the power play, with his excellent shooting ability with the puck. However, 5-on-5, he is not so much of a puck-moving defenseman. They will rely on other guys to move the puck at even strength. However, he does bring solid size, and that gritty physical edge you need on the D-core. Paired with him, I have Nate Callan. He is a young guy, at just 25, but despite his age, he has played 4 years of pro hockey, which is good experience for a young blue liner. Coach Morgan will be looking for him to break out offensively this season, likely getting some power play time. He should be a good puck mover, and he is a great skater, so I like him paired with Bolton. They should be able to drive some solid offense. On the second unit, I have Zach Vinnell on the left side. He also joins the Clan at 25. With less experience at the pro level. Just 18 games played in the East Coast last season. But with 10 points in those games, he showed that he can compete, and move the puck, and get it to the forwards. Coach Morgan also acknowledged his abilities on the back end, praising his stick checking, and ability to get in lanes. With him I have Bryce Reddick, completing the top 4. He is a speedy guy, who loves to jump up in the rush, but can also play a lot of minutes. This is one of those good vibes signings. He knows what it takes to win in this league, from his time in Cardiff. And they will be looking for him to bring his compete level, work ethic, and his experience to the team. At age 34, he is the oldest player on the roster. Don't be surprised if he gets an A on his chest. Or maybe even a C. Cody Saul returns to Glasgow. He is a guy that I feel every D-core needs. He is big, mean, and hard to play against. Okay, he isn't going to outskate guys, and he probably isn't going to drive much offense. But you play him in situations where he can thrive. You put him out in defensive zone face-offs. And on the penalty kill, he can keep the net clear. I think in a third-line role, you can't argue with this one, and he will be good to put with a rookie defenseman, who he can show the ropes. That rookie defenseman will be Reese Kelly, who complete the top 6, and defensive unit. This is another good vibes move, to a team that needed some good vibes. A young Scottish blue liner, that you can develop to hopefully be a key future piece. He has a great first pass, and should be able to move the puck well. He played 9 games for the Devils last season, but other than that, this is really his debut season. He gets a top 6 role for the year. Can he have a standout season with the Purple Army? So that's the D-core, now let's take a look at the forward group. On the top line, left wing, I have Charlie Combs, who makes his return to the Elite League. He is an undersized, speedy winger, and with Dundee 2 years ago, he played 66 games, and posted 34 goals, and 79 points. His shot is elite, and the Clan should expect a 30-goal season, and a point-per-game player here. He also gets to team up with his line mate from Dundee, in Philippe Sanchez. I have Sanchez on the top line right wing. He is another undersized, speedy winger, but these two combined really ran that Dundee offense a few years back. And Sanchez has continued to do it. In his Elite League career to date, Sanchez has posted 58 goals, and 127 points, in just 116 games. Similar to Combs, his greatest assets are his speed, and his shot. He can shoot that puck in a hurry. They should expect around 25 goals from him, as a point-per-game player. Completing the top line, I have Mike Pellick. Originally I had Hayden in this spot, but I moved him to the wing for one reason. Pellick is an outright centerman. And I like the idea of having a big, strong, experienced centerman, between two wingers, like Sanchez and Combs. He is great in both ends, and should be a reliable two-way guy. He is a pass-first player, so should feed Combs and Sanchez some great passes. I expect him to wear an A, and maybe even a C. Last year in the East Coast, he had 75 points, in 71 games. At age 33 that was a career year, so I don't expect him to match that. But could he do 15 goals, and maybe 60 points? I love this top line. On the second line left wing, I have the hero of last year, in Gary Hayden. Their offense last season, loved and died with Hayden. It feels wrong not to have him on the top line, but I like the depth scoring this gives the clan. He played center a lot last year, so I could see him returning to the middle, with Lynch moving down, if you wanted to spread that scoring out. For now, I want to see what he can with some time on the wing. Down the middle, Luke Lynch comes in, as a natural center. I could see him being third line center, with Hayden moving to the middle. But for now, I'm going to have him in the top 6. Last season in the East Coast, he put up 47 points, in 71 games. But impressively had 10 points in 12 playoff games. He is a pass-first guy, so I like him with guys who can shoot the puck, like Craighead and Hayden. I think he does end up on the third line at some point, but to start off, I want to see what he can do with Hayden on that second line. Completing the top 6 is Darian Craighead on the right wing. He is a goal scorer with a good shot. I think if you can put him with a guy like Hayden who can feed him the puck, and maybe a Lynch who can create some space, he could do some good things in Glasgow. Could he look to maybe score 20 to 25 goals, with maybe 45 to 50 points this season? Cannot wait to see him snipe from the dots. That's the top 6, and I'm impressed by the amount of snipers they have. Guys like Combs, Sanchez and Craighead can all shoot here, which is exciting to see. Jordan County is back with the clan for another season. Last year, he put up 5 goals and 28 assists in 62 games. Is he the kind of player that benefit from having a goal scorer on his line? Perhaps if Lynch moves down, County could move up to play alongside Hayden and Craighead. This forward group gives Coach Morgan some options here. Overall I like County, but I think if you can put a goal scorer on his line, he will really benefit from that. Down the middle I have Ryan Harrison. He comes in as a bit of a power forward. He isn't the biggest guy, at 5'10", and 185 pounds. But he does play a big game, bringing that physical style to the forward group. He also knows what it takes to win, and brings championship experience. He seems like a god fit for a third line role. On his wing, and completing the top 9, I have Dyson Stevenson. I am looking for him to step up offensively a bit this season. Last year, he had to take on some coaching roles, and I think that may at times have hindered his play on ice. But we know what he brings, he is very likely going to be the captain. He is going to hit, bring energy to the lineup, and lead this team. Can he pot a few more goals though? I would like to see him get to 10 goals, and maybe 30 points. On the fourth line, I have the All-Brit line. Starting with Jordan Buessa. I feel like we have been waiting for years for Buessa to take that next step. He showed such promise at the junior level, with the Sharks and the Steel Dogs. But so far in 260 Elite League games, it has resulted just 14 points. Now don't get me wrong, he is a hard worker, but I am just not sure if he fills a role, or if he just fills a homegrown player slot at this point. So many other Brits have returned to the minors in the NIL. I feel like if you wanted to fill a GB slot, there were better options. Robert Lahovich makes the move to Clan. He was heavily relied on last season with the Flames, for defensive zone draws. At this point in his career we know what to expect from Lahovich. He is very good defensively, a real asset to the penalty kill. You like him down the middle, perhaps taking some defensive zone draws, and he should be able to chip in 8 to 10 goals, and maybe 20 points. He can move to left wing, so if Coach Morgan wants to move Hayden to center, and Lynch down, then Lacho could move to a third line wing spot for sure. I think this is decent depth. Completing the forward group is Alex Forbes. Again, he brings some versatility to this lineup. He can play D, so I can see why they opt for 6D, and 12 forwards, as Forbes can play both roles. He is decent on the penalty kill, but there isn't much offense there. So that's the roster going into this season. Overall I really like their goaltending situation. I think they have 2 capable goalies, which has been a weakness in recent years. Their defense is okay, but I do have some questions. Who is going to step up to really become that number 1 guy? Is it Callan? Or can Bolton round out his game, and find offense without the power play? Can Reese Kelly jump right into a top 6 role? On the forward group, I really like their top 6, but I still have some concerns. If Hayden moved to the middle, can County be effective on a top 6 role? Who is going to score in the bottom 6? I do have real concerns about their depth scoring. I currently see them in a battle with Coventry between 6th and 7th. But I think they end up at 7th in the league standings. But I want to hear from the fans. Is this year going to be massive? What do you like about the team? What do you think will be their struggles? And ultimately, how will they do this season? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks all for watching, take care.